First of all, is there any way that we can kind of sort out the projector, if that's possible, please? Okay, if that's fine, I can continue, if that's okay. Anyway, okay. Basically, from a show of hands, can someone just tell me, in terms of knowledge of SEO, how many of you would consider yourselves to actually have a basic knowledge of SEO? Can I have a show of hands, please? Awesome. So basically all of you have, well, almost all of you have a basic knowledge of SEO. That's brilliant. In terms of an audit, what I just wanted to make sure what you guys can benefit out of this, I just wanted it to be a very practical session so that you can actually implement these stuff on your own websites. The market in the UK and the US is far different to what it is over here. I think the mobile application and so on are picking up quite well over here simply because of market penetration. But over in the UK and the US, online purchasing, budgets, especially in multinational organizations, are moving towards online marketing like SEO, PPC, and so on. So it's big business over there. I'm not complaining, but it is ridiculous. So basically, there are a few things that we actually look at when an SEO looks at a website. There's a different perspective. It's similar to a web designer or web developer looking at a website. When an SEO looks at a website, well, first thing that I do is, let alone set aside SEO and set aside all that you know of the technical side of things, the first thing that I look at is, in terms of above the fold, as a user, what is my first impression of this website? And I write it down. Does this website, does it look spammy to me? Would I trust my credit card with this website? These are the questions that I ask myself when I ascertain, any sort of website. And that would, be my building block in terms of the rest of the project. With Daily Mirror, the thing is, it's a bit difficult for me to be unbiased because I know the brand. I know Daily Mirror. I just spoke to a friend of mine, a colleague of mine back home, showed him the website, and some of the feedback that he said was, it looks really spammy, simply because of the number of ads above the fold. SEOs for a long time speculated that having a lot of ads on your website, especially above the fold, might harm your search engine ranking ability. Last week, Google actually updated their algorithm to make it official that that there can be a harm to your site by having shitloads of ads above the fold. As a user, why is this website? What's the purpose of this website? Why does this website exist? Well, my understanding is that this website exists because of news. When someone actually arrives at the website, apart from, when you look at the website, above the fold, the number of ads is immense. So the first thing that they would do themselves a favor by maybe having one premium advert at the top, a big banner advert, and charge a premium price for it, and have few ads in the middle, and have all their ads at the bottom of the page. That would serve them better and make them look a bit more authoritative as a news website. That might be quite helpful. So even in your websites, make sure that AdSense ads, Google ads, and all these kind of other tidbits, make sure that they're at the bottom of the page. And if you are charging a premium price, that's fine, but just have one ad and make sure that you respect your audience, you respect your readers. So before any of the SEO stuff, that's really key. Number two is, what we do is we disable JavaScript. And what we're trying to do is trying to look at the website. Pardon me. We disable JavaScript, we disable cookies. This is done on an add-on on Firefox. Chrome has something similar as well. You can use it. And then I changed, this is another add-on on Firefox. It's called the most of the work that we do is to optimize for Google. So we want to see how the engines view the website. So we refresh it again, and we note if there's any major changes, major differences on the website. By the looks of it, there isn't. The main difference is, the JavaScript that's here, the Airtel ad that's there, it generally gets prompted by the JavaScript code, so that doesn't seem to work now. But in terms of a website, it doesn't seem to be a major problem. What we really focus on is this global navigation right here. This has to work. If it doesn't work, by disabling JavaScript, you have a serious problem. The main reason is if it doesn't work and Google's crawlers don't find those sections, chances are that those sections wouldn't be indexed on Google's servers. So that's quite key, that you make sure that these links do work even without JavaScript. The best form of links is basically basic HTML unordered list. That's the best because it passes through link juice, it passes through Google juice best. The next thing that we look at afterwards is the title tag of a website. Now, right here they put their brand name, Daily Mirror, ahead of breaking news. I think most of their web pages, most of their main sections have Daily Mirror as their title tag on almost all of their pages. So it's an indication to me that they haven't really optimized for a particular keyword. So it's important that they would need to make a strategic decision whether they want to go after keywords or would they want to go after their brand. In Sri Lanka, I would say it's fine to go ahead with Daily Mirror because it's trustworthy website. People know Daily Mirror. But if they want to compete for a competitive keyword like Sri Lanka News, which for #1, by the way, Lanka page ranks for #1 for Sri Lanka News, they would miss out on that traffic who would have come via search engines. So ideally, they should put Sri Lanka breaking news and then put a pipe and then maybe Daily Mirror at the end because that has a massive, massive impact on the website. Also, canonicalization is a big issue for them. What I mean by that is when you type in dailymirror.lk, you come to the home page. When I type in www.mirror.lk, I come to the home page again. It should in a bit. If I type in dailymirror.lk/.php, I again come back to the home page. Google's crawlers are quite sophisticated, but unfortunately, they're not really good at distinguishing between www dailymirror.lk and non-www dailymirror.lk. They think it's two separate web pages. So that's duplicate content issues. And when you have two of your own pages competing against one particular keyword, you're losing out. Plus, if someone's linking to your website, say you've got 1,000 links linking to dailymirror.lk, and you've got www.dailymirror.lk, www.dailymirror.lk/index.php, dailymirror.lk/index.php, dailymirror.lk/home. All of this is taking you to the same page. You're diluting the strength of all that links that you worked really hard for to get, and your ranking power loses. So ideally, perform a 301 redirect to one particular URL, and you would need to make that call, whether you want it to be www.dailymirror.lk/ or do you want it to be dailymirror.lk, but you got to stick with one of it, because this is critical from an SEO perspective. Once you've done that, I would have a look at the category pages. Let's try business. Again, it's a good thing that they have static URLs. Other than .lk have parameter-driven URLs, which is a nightmare to work with. Simply because Google's crawlers, they try to make sense out of what a web page is. So they use these hints. So when you tell them dailymirror.lk/business, Google's crawlers think, okay, this page must be about business. Ideally, if that's the H1 tag, the H1 tag says business. So Google's crawlers think that's business. So this page basically is relatively okay in terms of the word business, but I wouldn't think business is one of their competitive keywords. I would rather change the title tag to business news Sri Lanka, and make sure that the title tag is also optimized. Generally on Google search result, there's only 70 characters that Google shows, about, give or take. So make sure that you optimize your title tag, because that's your free advert for people to click. That's what searchers would see when they, when they type in a keyword. So make sure that this is enticing. Make sure that people would want to click on you, on your link, and they would arrive on your website. So ideally, these guys should optimize their title tags. These are, tidbits. These aren't like massive changes to the site. These are tiny changes that they just need to do in order to gain significant, ranking ability on search engines. Then let's go on to, also, one thing that's very, very important is content. I can't stress enough how important content is from an SEO perspective. Google values content. Google values unique content, good grammar, these kind of things. Forget about search engines, but from a perspective of a user, high quality content is very difficult to copy. You can tell the difference between a website from a high authority site to a spammy website. So make sure that you do invest in good content writers and so on. We were working with a Fortune 500 company. They actually hired a chief content officer just to make sure that all of their content on their marketing collateral are all consistent, that are high quality and so on. So that's the amount of importance of content when it comes to marketing, especially online marketing. That's one thing. The other thing is make sure that you invest in design as well. I think these guys would do a bit better if they invested in a little bit of design in addition to content and design. These are two things that if you are thinking of seriously competing in the international markets, you shouldn't be stingy with. Get good copywriters. There are plenty of talent in Sri Lanka who can write well. There's plenty of talented designers who are here. Get one of those people who can give you some SEO tips or whatever, and work on your site. Because forget about SEO. If your content is really good, if your design is decent, you don't really need technical know-how or SEO knowledge, because your content will do that for you. Now, I wouldn't really want to go deeper because I just want to leave a bit of room for question and answer. I'm sure you have loads of questions. This is a tool that I use. It's a tool that's called Open Site Explorer, and it's by Moz. I've just compared the page authority of dailymirror.lk, otherthan.lk, and Lanka page. The reason why I chose Lanka page is because they rank very highly for a lot of web pages, although they actually outdo these two, by the way. So in terms of authority, Daily Mirror does really well. The number one reason for that is because of the number of external links to their site. If I scroll down, the external links here, they've got 31,000 external links. Other than have got only 6,000. Lanka page have 11,000. But the ratio between external and internal links is massive. So although they've got a lot of external links, they've got also a significant number of internal links within their website. So in terms of leanness, that's a manufacturing term to use. In terms of leanness, Lanka page is very lean. It's a small website. It provides decent content, and it's smashing the other two who are on the web sphere. So if there was no print media, if there was no television media, these guys would gain a significant number of traffic simply because they're optimized. Also, it's a decent idea. I'm not really sure how long do I have in terms of time. Cool. Basically, the message that I want to leave with you guys, even if you forget most of this, it's really challenging to actually stick this to 20 minutes because an SEO document, a proper SEO document, is about at least 30 to 50 pages, and it's highly technical. It takes at least 1 week to get the whole document done. Then we peer review it amongst our colleagues. We question it at least 5 times before we actually go to the client. So it's fairly exhaustive. And this was actually, this isn't a comprehensive site audit. SEOs would know that this isn't at all. But these tips, if you can make sure that your main URL is canonical and you don't have any canonicalization errors, that you invest in decent design, that you invest in content, copywriters and so on, you should be fine. I'd like to open the floor for questions, because I'm sure that would be a better way of actually talking about SEO or even search engine marketing and so on. Yes? Yeah.
First of all, you showed me different policies, different metrics.
Yeah.
What do you weigh? 13,000, 520, what's the actual weighting?
That's actually a good question, because Google, when they started off, as opposed to Bing and Yahoo, one thing that they did different was they valued links differently. They didn't say that all these 13,000 links are equal. All these 6,000 links are equal. What they actually said was, if you got one link from, say, the World Health Organization, and your website is to do with, health and so on, chances are that one link would give you a massive boost rather than 1,000 or 2,000 spammy websites. So you've got to take these numbers with a pinch of salt, to be honest. But there are tools that actually give you a weightage. Some of the weightage that they use is in terms of how many links are there on that particular page when that page is linking. How relevant is that link, as in how relevant is that page? For an example, if there's a cricket website and there's 150 links from a shoe websites, those links aren't really relevant because it's so what's on those particular links also matters. There's loads of other factors. Google says there's about 200 factors that they use to differentiate between the power, the strength of a website and the ranking ability. So yeah, you're right. That's actually a bit misleading. Just because you have loads of links doesn't mean that it would guarantee you with strong ranks on Google.
Thank you. My second question is, you mentioned content, the import of contents on your ranking. Now, you said that we had to invest in proper copyrights. Now, you said with proper copyrights...
I meant copywriters.
Exactly. They would do the job for you. However, would that have to be somebody that has expertise within SEO writing, or would a proper journalist do the job?
I would say, I could be biased and say, use someone who knows SEO, but to be honest, I wouldn't, Google are getting really good at, distinguishing between what's relevant, what's not relevant, and so on. They've implemented the Panda update last year, which meant that all these links from spammy sites will not, will actually harm you. JP Morgan was penalized. They were removed from, search engine rankings. So, these dodgy link building stuff is not going to work in the long run. So what I would say is build a brand, bring in copywriters and work on your brand. Obviously having a knowledge about SEO does help, not that it doesn't, but it shouldn't be your main focus when you're building a website and so on.
The reason why I was asking that, because I would suggest that, hello? The recurrence of certain words in a site would help you definitely in SEO perspective, and an SEO writer would know about that, whereas a traditional journalist would actually try and not do that as a narrative technique, exactly. Try not to support repetition of words and so forth.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I meant. I mean, it's good to have that knowledge, but at the same time, I mean, popularity is important. How you gain links. Natural links are very difficult to replicate, we did some high-level link building with one of our clients, and we got a decent link from the White House. Now, it's very difficult for another SEO agency to replicate that, to get another followed link from the White House. So that was done via natural means, and that was simply because of the content that was produced. It does help, but there's more to it. And I would say that it's best that we move towards, as an SEO industry, I think we have failed in that sense, because SEO has seemed to be this really mystical area where not many people understand. But if you stick to what worked offline, if you use those branding techniques, it should do you good in the long run, because Google will get better at parsing information. They would get better at understanding a page. And actually, to add to that, right now, Google can actually distinguish, their crawlers can actually distinguish between what's written by humans, which content was actually copied from whether it was written by a robot. It was, their crawlers are highly sophisticated today, so they can spot it. Obviously, they're not really up there, but I'm sure in the next 10 to 15 years they would be. So build a brand, make sure that you invest in good copywriters and work on that. But yes, it's always handy to know that, okay, if I use keywords at the start of the paragraph, it helps. If I use the keywords within the H1 tag, it helps. But I wouldn't say that that's. I would try to move away from that. I would try to be a bit more, because if you look at Google's blog, one of the things that they say is build your websites for humans, not robots. And I think those are very strong hints that they're dropping to us as SEOs to make sure that you actually do build your websites for humans, for actual humans.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Anyone else?
I'm Asanga, and I have actually 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
I'll throw my first question, and if there's no other questions, I'll throw the second question as well. And one thing I note, forgive me for my newbie question here, the JavaScript disabled, right? Now, one thing Google had said is build your website for humans, not for machines. So does it really matters if my website doesn't work when my JavaScript is disabled? Because what I heard is that as long as you have the HTML links on your page, the crawlers will go through those links and it will work. I know that when the JavaScript is disabled, the website, if it is not working, it is not usable, but does it really matters for SEO?
It's a good question. Google's crawlers are really good at finding links on JavaScript. There's no two question about that. But the reason why they say try to reduce JavaScript is A, it slows down your PC, or your web page. Google are obsessed with speed. They are trying to give their users, they're trying to answer questions of their users within less than a millisecond or so. They're just crazy over speed. So having lots of JavaScript, especially at the top of the page, tends to slow down your page. That's one thing. The other thing is you can't, as a web crawler, you can't actually gain as much information from a JavaScript link as much as you can.
Can I add something in there?
Yeah.
My question was that as long as I have the menu is basically a HTML structure, and the JavaScript is what it makes it dynamic, drop down, slide in, likewise. So as long as you have the HTML menu structure in your page, yeah, and your JavaScript disabled, and the menu doesn't work for the user, but does it affect SEO?
So it's built.
So basically, you have the links on your page,
yeah,
but it doesn't drop down. It's stuck. That's right. That's right. So
yeah,
I'm saying you have the JavaScript menu, but since the JavaScript is disabled, the menu doesn't drop down, but the link is there.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get your question. Yeah. The only issue with that, yeah, you're right. I'm sure that Google can, can get through those links. The only issue with that is SEO Moz ran loads of tests on JavaScript-based links, which had HTML in them. The most amount of link juice was passed through basic, HTML unordered lists. That was the best. So you could, and it would work and you could still reap benefits, and I'm sure Google will get better in the future. But at the moment, I would say stick with standard basic HTML, especially for your navigation, your global navigation, because that's where all your websites, that's where all your main sections of your websites are linked from your homepage. So that's absolutely mission critical to make sure. I'm sorry, my PC is really slow. Yeah.
It's basically an answer for your question. Now, since I'm in the same trade, one of the basic things about JavaScript is, now there's something called PageRank. Okay, this is not applied that much in the current context, but still it's valid. Okay, now let's say if you have a PageRank 5 site. Okay, PageRank is basically a sort of a index that's done by Google. So let's say if you have a PageRank 5 site, the chances of your site be ranked or being indexed by Google is higher than opposed to a PageRank 3 site. Okay, and the thing about using JavaScript is, okay, as a rule of thumb, what I would do is I would apply keys there, keep it simple, stupid. Okay, because the chances of getting something wrong with JavaScript and anything like that is really high. We'll have this conversation probably later,
Basically, what I'll try to explain is, in terms of link juice, there's this concept called link juice, which is really critical for an SEO. In terms of what link juice is say you get 1,000 links to your website. All these 1,000 links bring in to your website benefit. That benefit is called link juice within the industry. Now, if I were to give you an analogy of farming and of a river, right? Imagine all this water that's passing is link juice. A farmer would divert that water onto their crops, right? And what they would do is they would pass all this water onto all their crops. And it's basically the same. A good website architecture would pass on all this benefit, SEO benefit that you're getting from all those links throughout your entire website. So even the lowest category of pages, even your content pages, your product pages, which are at lower level, will benefit from all this link juice that's coming onto your website. I hope I'm being really clear. This is what SEOs are really, really bothered about. How do you pass all this benefit that is coming to the homepage? Because generally the homepage is where you get most of the links to a particular site. So what you want to do is you want to pass on all this benefit you get onto lower level websites. The key way you do that is through global navigation. And like Aloko just mentioned, keep it simple, because it's really important that you pass on all this benefit that you get. It's really, I mean, if you're a very small site, it doesn't really make much of a difference. If you're a very small, flat, website. Whereas if you're a huge site, which I'm sure Daily Mirror is, and you've got 15,000 pages on your website, you want the link juice that's coming onto your homepage to go down right to the bottom of the last, page, which is the lowest level within the hierarchy. So, yeah, I wouldn't try to, use JavaScript. I would try to, make the future. So, having that, SEO strategy, having that pay-per-click strategy, having that social media strategy, having that offline strategy, they're all important. I wouldn't say one is better than the other. Depends on your industry as well. Some industry, if you're an e-commerce website, SEO is critical to your business. So having said that, I hope you've benefited. I would be, willing to answer any of your questions afterwards, and I'm looking forward to the next speaker. Thank you very much, everyone.